Player 4. Press start to join.
Josh is okay, go.
Okay.
Stay tuned for part 3 with Shaymus. We really should have done that before the break, Josh.
Playing now.
And we're back.
So, Shaymus, it's the I've been waiting for this.
Oh, it's top 10 movie time.
Oh, guys, did we brainstorm a question for next week?
No,
It's
it says a
Shaymus.
question by Shaymus. It says right on the script.
Yeah.
So, Shaymus, did you brainstorm a question for this
Nope.
week?
Not yet, but I'm working on it still. I have time. Don't you worry
He can
about
do.
me.
He can shine with the rest of us when you pull something out of your ass.
Yeah.
So, top 10 movies of the 80s. Obviously, everyone's list would be different. I tried really hard to be impartial, but it wound up being mostly comedies.
Oh,
yeah! The 80s was the decade of good comedy movies, and...
Was Shaymus Caddyshack on that list?
No.
Oh, what?
No, Caddyshack. These are good comedies.
You gotta have Scrooge.
These are comedies you can watch again, and one musical and one action movie made it on here too. So.
Damn.
So here we go. In order, actually, because I decided on an order. Took me a while.
Oh, so is it starting at 10?
Yep, starting at 10. UHF, starring Weird Al Yankovic
Yeah, that's a good one.
and a young Michael Richards.
Nice.
From 1989. Roger Ebert gave it 1 out of 5 stars, but he's not always right. If you haven't seen UHF, it's about a loser taking over a horrible local TV station.
It's a terrible TV station.
Turning it around to something that competes with the networks.
You gotta give the janitor the show and he'll make the kids laugh.
It's a classic. It's rewatchable. I can watch it over and over
the
again.
janitor?
I just...
Yeah.
Sorry, taking it back a second here. Favorite part of what just happened was Roger Ebert gave it 1 star. He can't always be right, though, that dead asshole.
I've decided.
Wait, did he say that?
I included Roger Ebert's reviews in all of these because he just died, and he was a huge part of the 80s.
Yeah.
If a movie got a thumb up from Roger Ebert,
People saw it.
you went and saw it because that was pretty much the movie critic of the decade.
And we started off by saying he's wrong.
Well, and I included him. I think
I
if you go through this list, he and I disagree on most movies, but I'm not. I decided to include him anyway because he's
a good sport.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm a good sport.
Okay.
He's the professional.
Okay. I'll agree with that.
Number 9, Revenge of the Nerds, starring Robert Carradine and Anthony Edwards.
That's a hard watch.
I like that movie, but it includes a rape scene.
There is rape, but in the 80s that wasn't rape. See, nowadays that is.
Surprise sex, and everyone loves surprises.
That's right. Yeah, in the 80s there was all kinds of that nonsense going on in movies because women were not as, and I won't say uptight, but it was a different time.
And sorry for listeners who haven't seen it, not technically a rape scene, but hey, I'm having sex with a guy. Oh, it's the different guy.
Yeah,
it's not the guy I was looking for.
The old switcheroo.
And it was such good sex. I'm suddenly his friend.
It worked for him though.
For me, that's
she just needed a good dicking.
Yeah, you don't like it? It's
just a good hard dick.
1984, the oldest on the list.
Oh.
Actually, nothing before that made my top 10.
Fuck him.
Roger Ebert gave it 2 out of 5 stars.
Oh, he liked that more than UHF?
He did, yeah.
Huh.
Number 3, the only action movie to make the list, Die Hard. Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman.
That's a classic.
1988.
Alan Rickman.
4 Oscar nominations. Didn't win any. Roger Ebert gave it 2 out of 5.
Not always right.
It's the best of the series, though. Like, it makes John McClane.
Have you seen the newest one?
I don't think I have.
I think it gave us our best villain of the 80s with Hans Gruber. I couldn't think of a better one.
Hans Gruber is right up there.
And Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, is a huge part of the 80s. That one sentence is as big as I'll be back. Die Hard belongs on this list.
Is it Super Channel that does all the censoring?
Yippee-ki-yay, my friend.
I love when they censor movies. Yippee-ki-yay, my friend.
When I was young, it was yippee-ki-yay, yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
You know, he really says that because Hans keeps calling him a cowboy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why like the first one, it establishes him as a person. It's like, I'm just a regular guy trying to get through this.
Oh, you a cowboy. And then after that, they reference the first movie each time.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. It's good start to finish.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I marathoned the
Watching him barefoot
first
over
4.
broken glass makes my skin crawl.
Ugh.
I was sick one day, sat down with all 4 diehards and marathoned them. And it was definitely a thing. It's something that occurred.
Number 3 would probably not make my top 10 of the 90s, but it would be on my top 20, I think, because it was a good movie.
It's
That's
good.
one of Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 was...
It was alright.
Not as
Very
good.
the sequel.
Yeah.
Is that the one in the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with Sam Jackson was good, though.
I barely remember the second one.
So number 7, Eddie Murphy, Coming to America, with Arsenio Hall. And you were telling me you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but it's basically
I
Princess and the
saw
Frog
it when I
to me.
was very young.
This is a movie worth watching. It's
But does Roger Ebert agree with you?
this is the only movie on my top 10 list that I could not find a Roger Ebert review for. So perhaps he was sick at the time, or I don't know. I could not find anything
Maybe
connected to Roger Ebert and Coming to America.
Maybe they didn't do an advanced critic screening.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't need to review an Eddie Murphy movie.
It
How
got
about
2
that?
Oscar nominations. It didn't win
Oh.
anything. 1988, and a cool little insider joke is that Eddie Murphy plays a prince, so his parents are a king and a queen.
Yeah.
And they're voiced by James Earl Jones and Madge Sinclair, who went on to be Simba's parents in The Lion King.
Cool.
Both of them reprised the role of the royal parents.
That's cool.
Seamus, thank you so much for doing so much research.
You got it. And in that movie, Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy each play at least 4 people. I think it's more like 5. It's really, really funny. I'd give that a shot if you have a chance.
Oh, let's check that out.
Number 6, Little Shop of Horrors, starring Rick Moranis and Steve Martin, 1986.
Is that your musical?
This is the musical. 2 Oscar nominations in that special effects and music. It's the only musical in the top 10.
Very iconic movie.
Roger Ebert gives it 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
It's got cameos by Bill Murray and John Candy and Jim Belushi, and there are a few more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. It's a great movie. The songs are all good. It's funny throughout. The plant is amazing, considering they don't use any blue screen or CGI.
Yeah.
It's just a big, cool plant in the middle of the room that they built, and I'm sure it took several people to
Isn't
operate.
it a Broadway, too?
It's a Broadway show, and it's a remake of an old movie, which was made in the 60s with Jack Nicholson when he was very young.
Oh.
But it's trash. The original is just junk, and so they turned it into a musical and made it a remake.
That's definitely a movie my family liked more than I did. I find it boring.
Really?
Probably that's where I thought I don't like musicals from.
Oh wow! And it's the one I use as an example when I'm trying to get people to like musicals. So
It took Phil on. Well,
I knew we would have very different movie tastes, though.
Yeah.
we're from different decades for
Labyrinth hating bastard.
sure. With that big cod piece on David Bowie.
And
Everywhere.
it gets bigger.
Yeah.
Each progressive scene, it gets bigger.
The more you look at it, the more
ridiculous.
power you give it. Sarah.
Number 5, another groundbreaking 80s movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
Where we get the cartoons and the real
that's a
people
close.
mixing.
Is that rotoscoping? When they add the animation to the live action?
That sounds right. I don't have that. This one won 4 Oscars, all in different special effects categories. It's from 1988 with Bob Hoskins and Christopher Lloyd. Another really cool thing about this movie, though, is that they had the Disney characters and the Looney Tunes characters appearing side by side.
Only time ever.
That's right. And the deal that was worked out sounds like it was one of the biggest corporate merges of all time, where they were just like, you have to have it to the millisecond that our characters are getting the same amount of time.
The characters of equivalent popularity have to have the same screen time.
Yeah,
Wow.
but very cool for the companies to come together and create a toon world, because
Yeah.
that was what it was all
They
about.
were. They're the heavy hitters.
Yeah, that's right, and that made it really neat. That movie could easily be my number 1, but I threw it to number 5 just because these other ones I like so much.
Was there a Daffy Duck and
Daffy and Donald had a
piano
battle, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
but their time was shorter than Mickey and Bugs because they're the secondary characters to Mickey and Bugs.
That's right. And then you got Dumbo flying around, and there's lots. Pinocchio's in there. I think Foghorn Leghorn.
Gotta be.
There's some cool. That's a great movie, and it holds up. Like, the animation doesn't look horrible
Because that's
even though it's from 30
the
years
animation
ago.
style.
It's the same.
The art saved it.
I'd say it's damn near the same quality as that Looney Tunes Back in Action.
No, I don't know that.
That it's like Brendan Fraser and the same rotoscoping.
Oh.
If that's the one I'm thinking of, I could be like melding 3 different movies in my head, but I'm pretty sure it's live action and Looney Tunes rotoscoping. Brendan Fraser. So same quality of screen, but better movie.
Yeah, I believe that, and that's probably 25 years later, 20 years later. Right?
Yeah, definitely, and they just kind of shat the bed with it, if I remember right.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser. Why did they do that?
It was pretty good for a while.
Bedazzled. Check out Bedazzled if you want to see Brendan Fraser do well.
Bedazzled is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like him in that.
Not from the 80s.
And the Mummy.
Number 4, Spaceballs. Bill Pullman, John Candy, and Rick Moranis, directed by Mel Brooks. I think it's Mel Brooks' best movie. Most people will say Blazing Saddles, but this blows Blazing Saddles out of the water.
I did not like the end of Blazing Saddles.
No, it's not great, and there's a lot of boring parts in that too. So, by the way, Roger Rabbit was 5 out of 5 stars for Roger Ebert.
Oh,
Spaceballs got 2.5 out of 5.
He's not always right.
No, he's not always right. He was a smart man, but not. He made a movie, so he's the only legitimate critic, right?
Really?
He directed a movie and wrote it.
Was it good?
No,
what did he rate it?
It was terrible.
He gave it a 2.
It was terrible, so he went on to become a critic instead. Number 3, Goonies. Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman had to make the top 10. He was an 80s icon.
Okay.
This is directed by Richard Donner, but written by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So a lot of good collaborations from 85.
And isn't it like the big first example of PG rating can have one swear sort of deal?
There was a lot of swearing in this, but I think maybe you're talking the F-bomb.
No, they say shit a lot, don't they?
They swear a lot in this movie, yeah. It's a PG-13, I think.
Is it 13?
It depends on which... Canada and States have different ratings.
Yeah, I know you can swear if it's not sexualized.
Right, exactly,
And PG-13, you're allowed one use of the word fuck in a non-sexual manner.
That's right.
No one cares. No one gives a shit about shit.
But in this movie, the kids are swearing the whole way through, which is actually part of its charm.
Because kids do whatever they want when they don't have their parents.
That's right. It made it way more realistic than any kid. That's another thing I wanted to point out, actually, was on my top 50 list.
Yeah.
20 of those movies are kids' movies.
Oh.
And they hold up today. They're still just as good. They're better than any kids' movie they release nowadays.
For children, you mean, not of children.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, for 12 and under, and that says a lot about 80s movies too, I think, because I don't think if you did a 90s or a 2000s list that many kids movies would appear.
Pixar, stuff like that.
Yeah, they do. You're right, and I don't watch a lot of that.
Pixar's really turning it around.
I know you guys like them.
DreamWorks is sort of bantering to the kids nowadays because they use a lot of current pop culture references and stuff.
Yeah.
But Pixar is going to be standing out as the timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you boys love your Pixar. I don't think I've seen any. Toy Story.
What?
Monsters Inc. I think I saw.
Let's watch the Blu-ray collection of Toy Story. You can Blu-ray Toy Story 1. You can really see how far they've come along with their textures and everything.
I might check that out with you, Josh. 3 out of 5 stars for me. Number 2, Princess Bride. Carrie Ellis, Robin Wright,
Classic.
Andre the Giant, Billy Crystal. It's from 87.
You wish.
Wesley!
Wait, it was Wesley, wasn't it?
Wesley, yeah, absolutely.
That was a good one.
Go there, I'm called Root Squad. But I'm on the Root Squad. You are the Root Squad.
That's fine. It would take a miracle. Goodbye. It got 1 Oscar nomination, didn't win any though. 3.5 stars out of 5 from Ebert. This is an amazing movie. It's got everything it needs to be.
It's got a huge cult classic following.
Absolutely.
It's set in a medieval times, which makes it a timeless movie. Anyone can watch it. There's no dated references, and so
it's really fun.
Yeah, and it'll stay.
Well, it's an adventure.
It'll stay an amazing kids' adventure for, I'm sure, decades to come. Because
don't need kids to watch that one.
It's the perfect example of a good fantasy adventure movie for anybody.
Daylight savings have just sucked an hour of your life away. How do you feel?
And,
awesome.
And then number 1, and I might add the 4th John Candy movie on my top 10 list. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Really?
This is directed by John Hughes. who is the king of 80s movies.
That's true.
In the 80s, he did 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. John Hughes is an amazing filmmaker. This is the only one where he kind of jumped out of the teenager part of movies and went for full-on adult.
Thanksgiving. Who could pull a Thanksgiving movie off? John Hughes.
Getting home for Thanksgiving and just having a horrible time of it, and John Candy talking Steve Martin's ear off the entire time. This movie's funny, this movie's sad, this movie's cute.
Yeah.
And it's very relatable because it's all about shitty travel conditions and trying to get home. And
anyone who's been anywhere has had a shitty time.
Yeah.
The one scene that sticks out to me is when they're driving in like the burned down car.
The car is like it had like 40% potential at best. And another great scene was Steve Martin saying "fuck" 17 times in under a minute. And it not being gratuitous, it just being funny the whole way through. It's genius writing. This movie makes my top 10 of all time.
Certainly shows the diversity.
And definitely top 10 of the 80s. Ebert gave it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
You can't beat Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think that's a movie I've seen over 100 times.
I'll have to watch it at some point.
And could watch it any day.
I don't remember.
I don't remember it, so
I don't remember what
I've
happened
seen
to get the car to burn down, but they're driving this burned out husk of a car down the highway. And they get pulled over by a police officer.
Do you think this car is safe for travel? Odometer's busted, but we got it.
Odometer's busted.
It's got like no windows and mirrors.
That's the movie definitely where the woman's unpacking the car. And he's like, "Do you want us to give her a hand?" No.
Yeah,
she's had like 8 kids. Last 3 came out sideways, and they're like, "Oh god,
what?"
Yeah. Came out sideways. Yeah,
and she's just sort of like,
This is a movie anyone can love. I highly recommend it. And for Josh, I recommend Coming to America because
fine.
And to anybody, but
I don't know.
I know he hasn't seen
Roger
it.
Ebert didn't even give it a try.
Yeah, God bless Roger Ebert. You know, he was the best movie critic of the 80s and probably the 90s and 2000s too. Really, so
the only one I know
tip of my cap
ever.
That was my movie review.
Siskel's another one.
Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert.
Yeah,
they were the 80s boys.
So you just disregard him for the whole time, or what?
What's that?
You just didn't care about him because he's still alive.
Well, they had a show together where they did the thumbs up. Where they did the thumbs up.
Gene
he
died
died
a long time.
Gene died of a brain tumor.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
But they did their thumbs up or down show. But Roger Ebert has always written for the Chicago Times, doing his star system. So I went with the star system just because he died last month.
And then we won't have to talk about him ever again.
There you go.
Because he made a shitty movie, and we're never bringing that up.
What's it called?
Otherwise,
I didn't know what happened to him.
Beyond the Land of the Valley of the Dolls, something like that.
Yeah.
It's even a bad title.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, I had no idea what happened to him. And I found out like he had cancer in his lower jaw, so he had to amputate like his entire lower jaw.
And
I remember seeing this.
He lost his voice, couldn't speak anymore. But
he can still write.
They had thousands and thousands of hours on him on TV.
All the shows.
So he got to keep his voice. They made a recording of all the words because he's basically said every word on his show over the last 25 years. So he got to keep his Ebert voice with his machine. Right?
Yeah, the guys that did the Stephen Hawking voice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They took everything from at the movies with Siskel and Ebert, and then at the movies with Ebert and Roper, and then a few of his independent, like really high quality interviews. They went through everything and like basically combed out a dictionary just so he could have his voice back.
Wow,
that's
pretty
cool.
He debuted it on Oprah.
I think so.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
that's so phenomenal.
So we like Ebert.
Yes. Yeah. So that's fun.
Well, thank you very much for letting me do that, boys. I enjoy movies. I love movies, so being able to talk about movies for an hour and a half is a good time.
Yeah, I was thinking if Shaymus wanted to break out his iPhone and complain or praise a movie, I'd toss it on the podcast.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Guest contributor.
There you go. Absolutely. Anytime, any movie, and I want to throw these top 50 movie lists onto your website too, because
it's not going on the website because it's very poorly coded.
If
I did it,
whatever we have to do, because any of these 50 movies you can watch and enjoy your evening, and there's so many bad movies nowadays.
Yep.
if you go back to the 80s catalog, I found over 200 that I liked, and I managed to get it down to that list of 50 and then 10 from there, but it's non-stop. There's so many good movies. It has the Rockies and the Indiana Joneses and the Star Wars. Even just the trilogies. You can find Gremlins. You can find something in there.
Yeah, and so we'll be posting that list on facebook.com/PS2J show.
Yeah, I accidentally made a group the first time. I didn't realize there's such a big difference between groups and fan pages.
Yeah,
I fixed it.
Fan pages, people just hop on, whereas with a group, you got to apply for membership and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And which do you prefer?
The fan page is nicer because people can just click like. It shows up in their people's newsfeed.
They can post to it. It's very open.
It's a thing that also shows up separately, so anybody that just decides to look at your profile can see which pages you like. Like George Takei's a fan page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, so for next time, Shaymus, any sort of question you got for us?
Ooh, I forgot to make a question for you boys. I was told there was a stockpile of old questions that I could pick from, though.
No, not really.
Not really, eh?
We'd pick one out of the...
You can go back to subjects on cinema.
So much movie.
I had that cop-out question.
So, okay, well, my favorite
Not about
my favorite 80s villain, as you discovered, was Alan Rickman from Die Hard.
Yeah.
But there are hundreds to pick from, including Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader and the Gremlins after they get water from Mogwai. So why don't we give me some 80s villains and that'll give me some inspiration to watch some old movies too.
So that's cinema. What's your favorite 80s villain? Yeah. Beautiful.
That's what you need for a question. Good job.
So we'll throw it up on the fan page, and guys, mail it to your friends lists and see what answers we can rake in.
Awesome.
It's funny because us three, every time it's increase your fan page likes, and you two are on top. It's I bet they'd like it because they like it and they're administrators of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel kind of bad whenever PS2J posts something on Facebook. I'm like, should I like this? Is it egotistical for me to like this? Or?
No, you like it because it tells your friends that you liked it, and then they see it.
Well, if you actually do like it,
it's not
expecto petroleum. Petroleum.
And it's not like you're liking a post that you make. It is somebody speaking for the...
Yeah,
I might.
It's usually me speaking for it.
That's a fair point.
Because I found out it's 2 buttons to make stuff on Facebook come up as the group.
It's opening in just a different app for me. I'm just like, fan page, boop, I'm in as PS2J.
I'm usually just like, that's a funny picture, share. It's like, do you want to share this as you? I'm like, no, as a page I control. It's like, okay, done. Cool.
Well, yeah, thanks for coming, Shaymus.
Thanks for having me, boys. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you included the old-timer on the podcast.
Oh,
cool. So I guess we're done?
Yeah.
Official
wrap it up.
Nice.
Alrighty.
So, for PS2J, with our first time live in-house Player 4, I think it was a smash hit, and we should probably do it again.
Yeah.
Another 4 episodes?
Anytime?
I think every 4 it would work, because we figured out then that rotation would be a different one of us hosts each time.
That's true.
There's a new member.
That is true.
A 4th player.
So, perfecto. And for PS2J, I am Mike.
I'm Alan.
Josh.
And our live in-house Player 4.
Shaymus, thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Beauty. So long, and see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.
Host is disconnected from game.